Hey, what's up, stringlings? Today we are going to take a look at a brand new guitar from EART, the EGLP-610. This guitar. Let's check it out. As you may recall, I'm a big fan of the EART guitars, or EART. Again, I've seen it both ways. I'm going to say EART because it's close to Earth, and I'm just going to keep it that way for now until somebody tells me differently. Somebody might have. Anyway, doesn't matter. Point is, I have been waiting a long time to get my hands on this guy, and I'll tell you why. I have had a number of Gibsons and Epiphones come through my workshop, and they're all fantastic guitars. They're amazing guitars. They all have little flaws here and there, and the Gibsons in particular, for the price point, I'm not sure that they quite measure up to the quality control they used to. I had a 74 Les Paul in here. That is one of the best guitars I've ever seen, one of the best built guitars I've ever seen. But the more recent ones are kind of sketchy. But this look of instrument, you've probably seen the ESPs or the LTDs in a similar model that have come through. That honestly, I love them. I think they're fantastic, and this one is no exception. In fact, I've got my own build back here. I don't know if you can see it on that frame, but is one that I use for metal quite a lot. So I was pretty excited when EART asked me if I wanted to do this one, because again, I've done the headless GW2. The headless GW2 model. This is a new mic I'm trying out, so I'm still not used to it being there. As well as the TL380, which is kind of like a Charvel Sandemus Telecaster type body with dual humbuckers that split, and honestly, I love that guitar. I use it all the time. The main things about the EART guitars that I really like is the build quality is exceptional for the price point. This guitar comes in at, I'm looking at it now on Amazon right now, $519 Canadian, which is pretty spectacular for everything that you get. Now, when it ships, I do have to say, and this isn't the manufacturer's fault, this is the shipper's fault. This was left out on my porch in the cold, so I had to let it warm up a little bit, and then I had to do a tiny bit of setup and adjustment to get it playing because it was cold. And also, the strings were not pre-stretched on this one. I had to do some work to get them stretched, which is unusual for this quality of instrument. I think these are 10 gauge strings. I could be wrong. EART, please correct me if I'm wrong, but they feel like 10 gauge strings, and I didn't put a caliper on them because I don't care. I'm going to end up changing them anyway when I do my own setup. But this is basically out of the box, and speaking of which, the box, again, if you're familiar with how these guys ship, it's basically a sarcophagus of styrofoam that the guitar sits in, and yeah, it's just a wonderfully form-fitting factor that I might even end up making into cases at some point. If you want to see that, let me know down in the description, and we'll do a walkthrough on how I build cases out of the shipping boxes that these things come in, because I think that's going to be a really cool thing to do over the summer. But back to the instrument. Let's check this guy out. We're gonna take a look at it. The first thing that I notice is that it is much thinner even than the LTDs. It's quite a thin body. It's more in line with what you would feel on like a Strat. It's honestly, it's a much thinner body profile, and it does have a nice deep belly cut on the back. On this model, they didn't comfort carve the front, and they didn't comfort carve here in behind the horn to reach the upper frets, so that might be a bit of a problem. But honestly, like, this is resting in my hand and I'm on the 22nd fret with no issues at all, right? So not a big deal. Those are things that can be overlooked because it's a really comfortable guitar to play. It's not so comfortable sitting down. I don't have a strap holding this up, and it is, because it's thin, it's a little bit slidey sitting on my knee. So that's something that I'll have to put a strap on this to get it just a little bit more stable for studio use unless you're standing. But it's fairly light. I'm just going to check, make sure that I have the right measurements here, because sometimes these change a little bit on me. It says 4.3 kilograms. Let's ask Mr. Google what that is. Okay. 4.33 kg to pounds. 9.5 pounds. I don't know, that doesn't feel like a 9.5 pound guitar, so they might be factoring in the box, because it doesn't feel like a 9.5 pound guitar. It actually feels quite a bit lighter than that. And I'll explain, I think the reason why is because this is made out of roasted okoume. And okoume is very, very similar to mahogany. I've used it on a number of guitars. I've seen it on a number of Asian guitars. I've used it a little bit in the shop, and honestly, it behaves and feels and plays and sounds and does all the things that it does, basically like mahogany. So the two are fairly interchangeable, and I think okoume is a way that Asian manufacturers can get instrument woods a little bit cheaper than importing mahogany from Honduras all the way to China, manufacturing instruments and then shipping them to Canada and the US. They're using a wood that's a little bit more endemic to their part of the world, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I prefer using native Canadian woods like walnut and ash and maple more than, you know, mahogany and rosewood and ebony, because they're right here and they're very good solid woods for building guitars. So why not? Okay. So anyway, that's what's under this paint job, but we have to talk about the paint job. This is listed as satin gunmetal black. It actually reads a little bit gray in the light, you can see, because it is kind of metallic in sort of the visual texture of it. It doesn't really read black when it's got a light on it. That's okay. It has this like really dark silver color to it that I think is just really rich, and I really like it. The fact that they carry this paint job all the way to the back of the neck. I don't love painted necks. I don't love finished necks at all. I prefer to oil finish my own necks, but this is really, really smooth because they kept this satin finish all the way around. The fretboard is rosewood, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the fretboard is rosewood, and that's coming close if we can see. It's got those bullet ends. Maybe I'll do an insert just so you can see more clearly. The classic EART guitars, bullet ends. Nice and round, very, very comfortable fretboard to play on. They might try, you know, rounding the edge of the fretboard just a little bit more for comfort, but honestly, at this price point, I'm really happy with this instrument. Most of the stuff that's on here is standard spec, which means I may at some point replace this with a Graphtec tune-o-matic bridge with string savers. We'll see, but the bridge itself works just fine. I got it intonated and I had no issues. It is a standard 2-control setup with a 3-way switch. There's nothing surprising there. It does have full-size 500K pots. The cavity is not shielded, and again, they've done that thing where they've screwed a ground wire into the wood, which isn't shielded, so it's not grounded. That part's not grounded to anything. The guitar is grounded, it's wired properly, just that one weird little thing that they screw into the wood. I don't know why. They could save themselves, you know, an inch of wire and an end, unless they're actually going to put either copper or paint shielding into that space. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's just an observation. It's a thing that they do that's not necessary. People want to know what it sounds like, but first, take a look at this headstock. It has tuners that go in towards the head, or towards the top of the head. Cat here. Towards the top of the headstock, rather than out like you get on a Gibson. I get a lot more playing and tuning stability from that, in my opinion, and the strings don't interfere with each other, and it's just better. It's just a better arrangement. What is generating the sound on this instrument are 2 humbuckers. These are Alnico II humbuckers, and that was a surprise until I realized that what they're marketing this as is a vintage rock and blues instrument, not so much as a metal instrument. So a metal instrument would typically have something of a higher output magnet, like an Alnico V. That one, those are bare knuckles on that one. My Angry Widows from Peg City, Alnico V, loud pickups. They draw a lot of power. They push a lot more out. Pickups themselves don't color the tone. What they do is they change how much signal is pushing the front end of your pedal board or amp, and that's what, you know, makes that shift in tone that you're hearing. It's not that the pickups are acting as an EQ. They're just pushing more volume, pushing more signal, and creating more overdrive. So that's kind of what's happening there. However, with that in mind, keep in mind that these are magnets wrapped in copper wire. We can change the output level by simply changing the volume on the other end of things. You can put a booster on this or whatever. We're not going to do that. So today, what I'm going to do is take these pickups. They're also, by the way, slightly microphonic. I think, you know, if they wanted to do an improvement on the rigging, they should wax pot these guys and save you a lot of trouble. I'm not planning on changing the pickups out. I might change the bridge just for giggles, but let's get this guy plugged in, run it through a couple of tones, and see what it sounds like. Okay, we're back. We've got the EGLP plugged in and ready to rock. It's plugged into my interface. I'm actually using an X-Vive U2 wireless system. We're going to test that out today as well, and I've got a review of that coming up. And we're going to go first into Reaper, into just a clean version on the ML Sound Lab Gemini, which is like a Fender Twin sound. Totally clean, not even any reverb. And this is the bridge. I mean, it's nice and clean, right? It sounds humbuckery. This is both pickups together. Not bad. And the neck pickup on its own. Okay, decent amount of output for Alnico II pickups. I mean, they're not low output, right? I actually had some clipping there, so might have to adjust on the next one. Let's check it out. I am going to the Humble amp, and we've got just a little bit of dirt, a little bit of grunt on this guy, just to hear what it sounds like in kind of a mid-gain. It's a good sound. Going to the neck pickup. So it does get a little bit muddy down in the lower register. Again, this is just a sort of a mid-gain kind of a tone. I just want to check out how much sweep there is on the volume. That is pretty decent. And on the tone control, I'm being invaded by a cat. Bailey. She might jump up behind me here, so if you see me freak out, there she is. Okay. Now we're gonna add a little bit more gain. Excuse me. Hi. Gotta go. Go. There you go. Okay. We're still on the Humble amp. This is a little bit more gain, a little bit higher gain. This one's listed as a Robin Ford setting. I'm not sure, but I just like it because it's got some punch to it. It's like playing through a kind of a classic crunch amp. This is bugging me. Pretty punchy pickups. So, you know, if you're looking for that kind of classic 70s sound, yeah, that's tight. It's nice and tight and punchy. The question everybody has, and I'm not going to do a bunch of lead tone stuff on this one because I don't think we need to. You kind of get the feel for it, but the question everybody always has is, and we can thank Ola for this, does it chug? So let's go over to the Omega Ampworks Granifier, loaded up with a couple of Eminence speakers, a DB77 and CV75, my personal favorite headbanging combo. Right, and we'll see, this is what the Alnico II pickups sound like coming through this rig. Turn that tone control down, see if we can fuzz it. A little more doomy sound. They're still on the bright side, right? Even for having the tone control turned down. I bet we can squeeze a harmonic. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Sounds good. Okay, so that is the EART Guitars EGLP-610. I'm pretty sure EGLP stands for EART Guitars Les Paul, but they're not going to go that far because nobody wants to get sued by Gibson. What did you think? What did you think of the sound of that? It's got a really comfortable neck. I do want to mention that just like the other guitars, it has I believe it's a C to double check here. Again, I want to make sure I've got this right. Yeah, it's got a it's a U. So it's a U to C shape compound carve on the back of the neck, which is incredible. Very few manufacturers are doing a compound carve on the neck, but it also has a 9.5 to 14 radius on the fretboard. So it's a compound radius and a compound neck back. So you can in fact shred on this. I didn't do it for this particular demo. Maybe I'll lay a track later on this month sometime just to put it through all of its paces. But honestly, a very, very comfortable guitar to play. It is a little bit slidey, as I said, on the lap, but overall, it's light enough to gig with. It's definitely, on par playing wise with the LTDs. I love the frets on this thing. They're just magnificent. They're stainless steel frets with bullet ends set back from the edge of the fretboard. You're not going to feel any discomfort playing that at all, and even with a little bit more of an edge on the fretboard, it's not a rolled edge, it still feels great to play. Maybe because this is in my collection now, I might consider replacing the bridge, and that is just because I want to, not because this is in any way not a functional tune-o-matic bridge. I just know that it fits standard measurements for that. Same thing. I may roll the fretboard later on as well. We'll see. I'm not fully decided on any of these things, but honestly, the detail work. In fact, don't think I mentioned this either. But look at the neck joint. They might have smoothed this down because it is a set neck, right? They might have smoothed the heel down a little bit, but it's absolutely seamless. Can you see that? Like, the paint job on here is flawless, right? Just an incredibly good paint job. Very, very well constructed guitar. It does come in a couple of other colors. Probably the one, if you're looking for a classic guitar, is Satin Honey Tea, which is the same color. I actually have a high gloss Honey Tea on the TL380, as well as a Satin Sapphire Blue, which is this type of paint, but in a blue color, really nice blue color actually. So I've got links to the Amazon listings in the description, as well as to my Amazon store if it's up by the time this video goes live. If not, I'll put it in later. That also lists as many of these guitars as I can. In the meantime, let me know what you think of this model. If you've tried it out, let me know, and link to your video as well, because why not? And if you like this kind of content, make sure that you like and subscribe. I've noticed that my viewers, about 80% of them are not subscribers. So if you are viewing this video and you like it, make sure that you subscribe, and that way you'll be sure to see more of these as they come out. And do consider becoming a member of the channel, because that helps to support the channel as we go through, all of these, transitions and promotions. And when I say transitions, I mean transitioning my studio, as well as helping to support the work that we're doing with independent artists, getting more of their reviews out. So that's all for me for today. That's all from this guitar, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you enjoy yourself for the rest of the week. Have yourselves a great time. Bye now.